Now, I really thought I was done with this topic. I've made so many videos on SniperWolf and the Jax film situation, but now, apparently, she has done it again. So if you don't know, a couple weeks ago, I talked about the situation with SniperWolf, how she was like talking about driving up to Jax film's house because they got into like an argument online. And then because of her IRL threats to basically dox and harass someone, she lost monetization on her channel and then came out with this apology tweet that ended the same way Logan Paul started his. So as I've talked about in a lot of detail, SniperWolf makes reaction content. She started off by, playing Call of Duty, any kind of first-person shooter, but now she does reaction content. That same kind of content where you'll see someone on like this part of the thumbnail and they're doing the soy face like... That is the kind of content she makes. But don't worry, if you watched any of her videos, you will get the most... You will get the most insightful or inspiring opinions imaginable. If you want an example of some of the amazing content that she has honed and crafted for years and years, one of my friends, actually, Dolan Dark, did a video reacting to her content. Let's give it a watch.
Let's check out one of her videos. Wow. This is awesome.
They just grabbed a handful
awesome.
of the spiders.
I do like the acting of the hand also. Like, she actually shot this and was like, yeah, that's the take I'm going to use. I guess she probably does the whole thing in one take, so makes sense. She also went on to say...
Oh, that's someone that really cares about his content, you can tell. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. But recently, it has came to light that SniperWolf might have actually been yoinking a lot of content ideas, especially titles and thumbnails, from another reaction YouTuber called Azzyland. Now, if you don't know of Azzyland, she's another reaction type channel. I'm not gonna, sit here and say that she makes amazing content and it's way better than SniperWolf because it probably is the same thing. There's not really much you can do from the bottom of the barrel. But despite that, recently we actually had her on our podcast to talk about the whole situation with SniperWolf stealing her content. For someone I've never spoken to before, Azzyland was a really nice and sweet girl. Now, one of the hosts of our podcast, Nerd City, actually uploaded a near 40-minute video basically exposing SniperWolf and giving Azzyland a platform to show that SniperWolf is just relentlessly stealing content. Now, I do want to say as well, this isn't Nerd City's first venture into the lore, the universe, the MCU of SniperWolf. He actually did a video 5 years ago called Thought Patrol, which had like Max Mofo and Rusty Cage in it.
Beautiful hair. Nasty fake hair. Perfect. Natural. Amazing.
Why does he go away from the mic when he says it?
Perfect hip to waist ratio. No hip to waist ratio. Alien hands. Fat stomach. Virgin. 10 out of 10.
Hands. What kind of criticism is alien hands? What does that mean? Alien hands.
Please, neighbors, I've just moved in. I don't know why you're doing this to me. This is 9:55 and only families live around here.
Now, again, you're probably wondering, what is the huge problem with Azzyland and SniperWolf having similar content? YouTube is huge. Inevitably, everyone steals off everyone. Have you seen the Pyro Live channel? Did you guys watch Critical, right? You do reason this entire swarm of morons that are making second channels that upload daily slop is literally just because of Charlie, right? I will happily admit that. The only excuse I have is I use the garbage on this channel to fund the main channel. That's why in the new video, I'm going to be wearing a funny suit. Now, what seems to be the game theory at the minute is Azzyland will create content and SniperWolf will then steal that content and try to make it better, almost like out of spite. Not in a sense of you're seeing pre-existing content and trying to transform it into something that's your own, but nope, she will just steal the content one-to-one and then add like a specific word or some kind of thumbnail change. Like this really weird example where Azzyland is talking about plants in her home, basically saying that, she doesn't really take care of them, they end up being killed and dying, but then SniperWolf goes on to say that they're luscious, well taken care of plants.
More plants that I'm killing.
A luscious, well taken care of plant.
Hey man, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but change it up a little so the teacher don't notice.
And the thing is as well, if you line up a lot of dates of content, you can see that SniperWolf was basically stealing ideas days after Azzy. Now, that being said, to be devil's advocate, there are a very, very few examples of Azzy doing content after SniperWolf, but for the most part, she does it first, and then SniperWolf would upload a similar video a couple days later. And the worst thing is, much like any kind of YouTuber war, it's never who's actually right right and who's actually wrong, but more who has the bigger fan base. So Azzy would get a ton of hate and a ton of backlash because people thought that she was just a copycat of SniperWolf.
Just to give people an idea, like, what was the scale of this kind of harassment of you? Like, how many short form videos were you seeing that were accusing you of copying her?
This became like a really big issue as soon as TikTok became popular, and it started blowing up on there because anybody can make a short form video and things can go really viral on there. Like, there was fans that had like 100 followers, they would post it, and within the end of the week, they would have like 5 million views on it.
Now, one important point Nerd brings up in his video, which is very true with TikTok, it doesn't actually operate on the same level that most social media platforms do. Usually, when you open up a YouTube channel and you start uploading videos, eventually you'll get a banger. You'll have no idea why. It might be, you know, a couple of days into uploading. It could be actual years. But obviously, what regards on you getting a banger or not is if you're talking about like a specific topic, something, for example, that's trending. But TikTok functions very differently. It has this kind of way of like artificially giving you like 5 seconds of fame. So the first couple of videos that you upload, one of them for no reason will be bumped to the front page, probably getting thousands of views, tens of thousands of views, and thousands of likes. Nerd talks about this as well, and people on TikTok, probably little kids, were actually hijacking that trend on fresh accounts by making videos roasting Azzyland.
But basically, like, and that's the way that TikTok, that's part of how it became so popular, is they artificially give everyone their 15 minutes of fame. So when you have a new account, if you're just some kid who's only made like 1 or 2 videos ever, the odds of you having a viral video within your first few are pretty high because they want people to basically start to feel famous on that app. They do that in a way that like YouTube doesn't do.
Now, a lot of you might be thinking that this fight between Azzyland and SniperWolf, it is basically the battle of mid. Who cares? They're both just 2 reaction channels. Well, one thing about Azzyland is she's actually incredibly transparent. Like in the video with Nerd City, like when he's interviewing her, he straight up asks her, you know, do you use Facetune? And for a woman, it is one of the worst things you could ever ask a woman. Do you edit your pictures? Do you try to make yourself look better than how you actually are? Because yes, they all do. Of course they fucking do. But they'll never admit it. But despite that, Azzyland straight up admits it.
If I were to ask you, do you Facetune your pictures before you put them on Instagram? What's your answer to that?
I have, yeah. Yeah. Other people can see more than you can. That's the thing, like, nobody's fooling anybody.
I knew that you used Facetune, and I think everybody does. And if somebody asks you, do you use Facetune? It's not a surprise to hear yes. And it's not that embarrassing to admit that you do. It's totally normal.
Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have SniperWolf, who went into this complete mental breakdown tirade, basically saying that I have never edited a single picture. What is editing software?
The way that you handle that and just did is completely different than SniperWolf.
I don't Photoshop any of my pics. I don't have time for that.
But then as well, SniperWolf would go one step further. She'd say, I don't edit my pictures, but then openly accuse Azzyland of editing her pictures. Which, again, you might be devil's advocate and think, what's wrong with that? Because, you know, technically SniperWolf is right. The problem is SniperWolf does 100% edit her pictures.
One of the reasons why I felt justified in making that video was that she was attacking people for the thing that I could tell she was doing.
The first thing they say is, why does she look like a cartoon?
Mm-hmm. One of your first negative interactions with her, she was trying to say that she does not edit her photos and you do.
Yeah.
If Azzyland is the YouTuber, SniperWolf is like the Mandela catalog alternate. And the hypocrisy doesn't end there, because SniperWolf will openly say in her videos she hates when people copy each other. But she doesn't say it like that. She's like, you know what I hate? When like people copy each other. Oh my God, it's like so cringe. And you're probably thinking, where's the proof apart from the thumbnails that are pretty much exactly the same? Well, if you put any of these videos that Azzyland uploaded first side by side with SniperWolf, you will see even the jokes are stolen.
When you promise to only eat 1 cookie.
I'm gonna be good tonight. I'm only gonna eat 1 Oreo. That's it.
This person should be a lawyer. He's like, you said 1 cookie.
The only one. Just 1. That's it.
I'm only gonna eat one Oreo. Oh my God. I'm gagging from how like terrible that joke was. I think I twisted my neck. Oh god, I think I'm going to be sick. It has now actually reached the point where Aziland dislikes SniperWolf so much that she purposely changed her accent to not sound like SniperWolf anymore. I'm not sure what kind of surgery she needed, maybe having some vocal cords snapped or removed or transplanted. But you know what? I'm happy the procedure was a success because she's probably increased her life expectancy by about 20 years.
I can tap into my voice when I get like excited. It's like a bunch of people who I went to school with and grew up around talk like that.
Boom. New bout.
My parents are foreign, and then I lived in Amsterdam for a bit. So it's kind of just been morphing over time. But the ironic thing is, I wanted to separate myself so much from SniperWolf that I started forcing myself to not talk like that. And now I don't know how to talk like that anymore. I like forgot.
Tragedy. She stole something from you and then like wore it out so much that you quit it.
Because if you don't already know, SniperWolf's voice, what Nerd City has dubbed it is like a baby voice, because that's essentially what it is. She knows that the majority of her audience are like 2 years old. So of course, to engage with that audience, she's going to be like, oh my god, guys, wow, look, whoa, look, it's an Oreo stack, guys, oh my god. Now, again, I do want to say, please go and watch Nerd City's video. It does a great deep dive into this entire just plagiarism that SniperWolf has been doing. Honestly, I'm surprised that she hasn't actually tried to dox Aziland yet. She kind of just steals her content and has a voice that's so annoying. Aziland had to mentally brainwash herself so she doesn't sound like that anymore. But yeah, like I said, go watch Nerd's video. He's an old man. He needs the views. Oh my god, who's calling me on WhatsApp? Fuck off. I love how WhatsApp will ring for 9 years until you answer the fucking phone.